Hello, I'm Joshua.
And I'm Mary, and welcome to From the Heart.
Orlando is widely known for its tourist spots and attractions, but many people don't know about its thriving arts community.
It's an honor to introduce to you passionate artists and leaders whose talents shape our arts community. How do they create and why? How will Orlando benefit from a growing arts presence?
On each episode, we'll meet guests who are influential leaders and artists who are truly making a difference.
From the Heart.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to From the Heart. I'm Joshua.
And I'm Mary.
And we're excited to bring to you all that's new and good when it comes to the arts in Central Florida. One would think that being music director for Cirque du Soleil's La Nuba, in addition to being a husband and a father of 3 young musicians, would be work enough.
Yes, but not for our guest. He's also the founder and homeowner of the White House, a treasure of Orlando that we're about to hear from the one and only Benoit Glazer. Welcome, Benoit.
Thank
Welcome.
you so much.
So
Thank
glad
you
you're
so
here.
much for having me.
Benoit, a lot of people might not know what the White House is. Tell us.
Well, it's our house, and it's called the White House for 2 reasons, because it's white, and also because I figured that it would be a good excuse because we have these concerts in our house, and so if people were late at work the next morning, could say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I was at the White House last night.
Oh.
I'm late." So it's
They
a
would be
good
telling the
excuse
truth.
to and tell the truth. That's the best kind of
At
excuse.
the White
that.
House, there'll be excuse. But
Exactly.
okay, let's back it up. You said we had concerts at our house.
Yeah.
A little unusual. Tell us about it.
I know. It's, well, my wife and I got here in Orlando in 1998, and now the art scene is thriving and really exciting in Orlando, and maybe it was a little harder to find back in 1998. And so, especially since my nights off were Tuesday and Wednesday, so it wasn't typical nights where the big names or big artists, big shows would come in town. So it was very hard to find any live music to go see. And because I come from Montreal, as I'm sure everyone has noticed because of my accent, which will not ever disappear.
We love your accent, by the way.
Thank you. I have no choice, it's there. But in Montreal, there's live music, every second building. Montreal has more live musicians than New York City. I mean, musicians in the Union than New York City. So, and it's a city not a tenth of the size of New York City. So the concentration of musicians per capita is very, very large. And so the result is that there's not a lot of work that pays well, or it's very hard to get work that pays well in Montreal, but you have music everywhere.
And you were missing the music.
Exactly. And so we were missing live music. So I said, well, let's have a concert of our own. And so we made a concert, and basically the first concert was 20 people in the house in the South Orlando, in the suburbs, and then things grew slowly. The first year there were maybe 5, 6 concerts, and then we went to 8 and 10, and 4 years later, that was 2000, and 4 years later we had our first event where, unfortunately, we overflowed the house, so we said, okay. We looked at each other, my wife and I, and said, well, we have to design and build a bigger place.
Your neighbors are probably like, yay!
Well, actually the neighbors were all at the concert.
They all came to the concerts.
That was good. It was a kind of a strange parking situation, and we did the next day. I took a walk, and
you were in Hunters Creek, yeah.
In Hunters Creek,
yeah.
And I took a walk across the lake, and I found a wine glass on the other side of the lake. I said,
Okay.
this is not good. So that's where things
And tell us, when
from.
people come to your home, they'll bring a bottle of wine or
Yeah.
some fruit or cheese or
Yeah.
pastry, and then everyone shares it there,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So lovely.
And are the concerts free?
Yes, yeah, most of them. I mean, occasionally we have a ticketed event to raise funds for a cause, or sometimes just because it's a big, rare opportunity to see somebody in Orlando that would
And you
never
wanna
come
pay them
otherwise.
some kind of
And-
stipend.
Exactly. Well, but as a rule, like this year, we're going to have 56 concerts, and not one of them is ticketed. They're all free.
But what's nice is the artists will often sell CDs.
Oh, yeah.
And then that's an opportunity to support them
Merchandise.
there.
Yeah, and we have an artist who usually works live and shows their art. The art that they sell, they keep all the proceeds from. And
Jason sold a few there.
Yeah.
In fact, one to the owner of the house.
Yes, that's true.
What kind of concerts might we see there? I mean, is it all types of music, or?
Yes, it's there is. I try not to curate. So basically, the only compromise I've done for 2016 is that I've kind of guided the scheduling a little bit. So in a sense that on the calendar it says open for jazz, open for folk, open for whatever,
String,
and then
I've seen
open
string
for
there.
open for classical, for example. So because in the past couple of years we've had, like, for example, folk music 3 weeks in a row, or jazz music 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to keep it, with a nice mix of schedule-wise, so that people of all tastes can enjoy it at least once a month. So that you can keep the habit of people coming to the house. But basically, that's the extent of it. People book themselves. It's about a year and a half ahead of time now, and the same goes for artists. So artists, usually it'll say art to be announced, on the calendar, and then the artists will look at the calendar, and there's going to be a link to the musician, and so they can kind of scout the music that they like, and then we know that it's going to be a good mix, because
fit.
they'll exactly. So
Jason does a lot of jazz musicians, and he's been there when you've had jazz.
Right. And
So you're a trumpet player. Is jazz your favorite kind of music, or are you?
I like all kinds of
like all
music.
kinds?
I mean, I was a studio musician in Montreal. I played a lot on pop. I love funk music, and like Motown, all that kind of stuff. I love that. I'm a big fan of orchestral music and contemporary music, from Stravinsky and living composers. We've always tried to help and emphasize living composers at the house, whether it be folk or avant-garde, it doesn't matter. I mean, as long as, we try our best. We have Baroque music. Of course, it's harder to do, but we have great collaborations with all kinds of people, and I'm going to name a few. I hope I have some time. But the Civic Minded Five, these are folks who love creative, mostly improvised music, and so they get together, they pool their money, and that's how we get bands from Japan, Europe, Brooklyn, a lot of, the hotbeds of contemporary music of that type. And so they produce 5-6 concerts a year at the house. Then we have Atlantic Center for the Arts, for example. They do 3-4 outreach events from their residencies in Orlando. They do those at the house. We also have the Central Florida Composers Forum, of which I'm a member. But so we have local composers who get together and try to, do events, themed concerts, and all kinds of different collaborations with dancers, with choreographers, with writers, with storytellers, all kinds of stuff. Also, let's say we have the Maitland Arts and History Museum. They have events. Snap Orlando. We have who else? All kinds of other people. There's others I know I'm missing, but Snap Orlando, I said. What else? There's other people. So
many great collaborations.
And that's the
great
best part. It's eclectic.
Yeah.
We're going to come back, so you'll have time to think about that and get that back when you come back. You're just a font of information. It's so much fun chatting with you. The good thing is, Benoit, we're going to get to come back and hear more about what's going on with you and the White House.
Thank you so much.
We're going to be back with Benoit Glazer in just a few moments. Thank you for joining us. Stay with us from the heart.